Hello, good morning. Good morning from New Hampshire. Hello, my name is Cindy. I'm in New Hampshire and it is 56 degrees and I'm on my way to school. Good morning. I hope you are doing well. And I like to just kind of show the scenery in New Hampshire. It is October 31st and the leaves are brown and they are falling off the trees. There are a lot of leaves on the ground now, and we're kind of past the peak of beauty, although it is still really pretty right now. And it is 56 degrees, which is warmer than I thought it was going to be today. We're supposed to have a soccer game this afternoon. It is kind of raining. It's kind of like a misty rain, not a pouring down rain, although it did pour down during the night. And that means that the rain will take the leaves down even more. And in New Hampshire, we could have kind of a cold day today, and it could warm up tomorrow. So it's hard to know what to wear on these New Hampshire mornings. I thought it was going to be freezing this morning, and I went out this morning and it felt warm. So strange weather. I have my raincoat in my car and an umbrella because I think that the soccer game is going to go on today. And because it's a tournament weekend. And we're going to play there's 4 teams trying to play for first place. The first game we're going to play to see if we can play in the game that will determine the championship of the entire group. And it's going to be kind of tough because our team is worn out. We don't have a lot of players, and the players that we have they're great guys. They've been doing a great job, but we don't have any subs really. So they have to give it 100% for the entire game. And so some of the other teams that have more subs, they have an advantage because, our guys get worn out. We have one guy that broke his collarbone. That was really sad. It kind of flipped up and went right down on his collarbone. So that was really sad. But he's okay, and he is just out of the season. So yes, my name is Cindy. I'm a teacher, and I am on my way to school today. And I actually teach math, and sometimes I like to talk about something math related, and I talked about the new concept. I had never even heard of it before. It's called dyscalculia or something like that. And, it's kind of like dyslexia, people that have a hard time with numbers. And since I've taught for many years, I get it. Some kids kind of, they naturally are fine with numbers. They just say, yeah, this is no problem. And then other kids, they're like, I don't get it at all. And they're totally in the dark. And they do not know numbers, and they don't care, But there is a minimum standard pretty much for kids to graduate high school with some math skills. I always tell the students, if you want to work a job, you might want to know how to count your money. How much money you're going to make per hour, how much money do you need to pay your bills, that kind of stuff. So math is important, but sorry, my nose is very itchy. So to me, I feel like I had to really get good math background. I really had great teachers that worked with me. I learned, my addition facts. I learned my multiplication tables. And those 2 things right there will help you for everything. And if you don't learn how to add, you don't learn your multiplication tables, then every other concept in math is just almost impossible. And I wanted to talk today about, thank you for subscribing, I appreciate it. One thing I wanted to talk about today is, should calculators be used in the classroom, in math class? And what grades should we start allowing kids to use calculators? And yeah, I have an Algebra 2. I am in New Hampshire. I have a student that I'm tutoring, and she's in Algebra 2, and she told me that her teacher lets her use a calculator. Now, you'd think by the time they're in Algebra 2, they know their numbers, calculator is, there are times I used a calculator more in college. I don't think I ever really used one in high school. And there were times I needed it because I knew how to do the problems, but it was a lot faster if I had a calculator, and I needed that speed in order to finish the test on time. And, the calculator at that point wasn't needed for my general math skills. It was just needed because the types of problems were too hard to do without a calculator. And at that level, obviously calculators are fine. Or I do let my kids use calculators for the banking section. In the general math skills, usually there is one section about banking and tells you all the different types of banking terms, and then you have to do adding credits and subtracting your debits, etc. So then I do allow them to use the calculator for the banking section. And even for percents and things at that point, they have to have a general working of percents in order for the calculator to even help them. So those are the situations I let them use a calculator. But this Algebra 2 student was doing square roots. And there's something, if most people don't know how to do square roots, but square roots are if you have, say, 2 times 2 to the second power, that's 2 squared, and that equals 4. 4 squared, or 4 to the second power, equals 16. 5 squared, or 5 times 5, or 5 to the second power, is equal to 25. So 5 squared is 25, 6 squared is 36, 7 squared is 49, etc. And then square root is square root of 49 is 7. Square root of 36 is 6. Square root of 25 is 5. So those are square roots. And in order to do square roots of larger numbers, you have to find maybe other square roots that comprise those numbers. Like, it could be a really big number, like 1045. What's the square root of 1045? And then you have to find the factors of 1045, and you find if there are any square roots, perfect squares, inside that number. And there's a certain way that you do it. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because the whole point is to find the patterns of the numbers. So if I take my calculator and I press 1045, and then I press the square root sign, I have just erased the entire concept of finding the square root of a number by looking for patterns of numbers. Part of being successful in math is knowing patterns. And part of your brain exercise is looking for those patterns. And if we just use a calculator for everything, we are taking away the concepts that kids need in order to be successful in math. And so I don't believe that kids should be using calculators, until they're in a higher level of math where it's absolutely necessary. Now, I say this, but the curriculum that we use at our school is totally, designed that kids don't need calculators. okay? That's how it's designed. They don't need calculators till they're in higher level math, or like I said, I would let them use it in the banking section. But other than that, they make all the numbers to kind of work out evenly so that if you know the shortcut, you're going to be able to get the answer right. If you don't know the shortcut, it might take you a little longer, but you can still do it. And so I'm talking about this because a lot of the new curriculums are saying, oh, kids can just use calculators. And they're kind of erasing the whole concept of kids finding patterns, which has to start when they're younger. And yes, I know if you have a calculator, you can do 1 + 1 is 2. But if you're a student in first grade, they need to have the picture of, 1 apple plus 1 apple equals 2, and what does plus mean? Like, if you use a calculator, you might not even know what plus means. You aren't getting a clear picture of what you're doing. You're just pressing buttons and learning how to do the buttons. Now, I'm going to relate this to the Rubik's Cube. I went yesterday in my class, I got all these Rubik's Cubes, and all my students are going to, learn the Rubik's Cube a little bit at a time. And a couple students are saying, do this, forward, side, down, across. Okay, and they're telling me this is an algorithm and this is what you do. That made no sense to me. Like, I have to memorize all these patterns. Well, last night I was watching a YouTube video where the video teacher says, like, how the block works. And when you move things, you're actually moving it into place. And the way she was explaining how it's working, the inner working of the cube, made more sense to me. Because the way my student was saying it was, you memorize all of these procedures in order. The way the video was telling me last night was giving me the reasons and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I feel like I'm going to remember that better than just when you get to this point, you go front, side, over, down, And I thought, wow, I have like 5 algorithms I have to learn. I have to know when I use them, but I have no idea what's happening on the cube itself. And then I realized, okay, if I know what's happening on the cube, that will make more sense to me as to why I'm doing what I'm doing. So yes, everyone learns differently, but I'm talking about this because sometimes in math, kids learn a procedure. Like, this is how you do fractions, and they don't really understand that the least common denominator is built up of, factors of the 2 numbers you're trying to find the common denominator for. So many things in math are related to patterns, is what I'm trying to say. And they're related to each other, and if you can see how the numbers and the patterns work, you can remember it a lot easier than if you look at everything as a separate procedure. Although some people, that's how they learn, I guess. They learn by just learning the procedure. But I found that, it's say for percents. If I tell kids, in this situation, you multiply. In this situation, you divide. In this problem, you divide. They still haven't learned anything because they don't know how to relate it to real life. So I try to relate all the percents to each other. And when you learn one equation for all percents, that's easier than learning 3 different procedures for 3 different types of percent problems. So anyway, I don't know, I guess I'm kind of rambling. I'm losing my audience. Well, anyway, it's a great day today in New Hampshire, and it looks like the rain has stopped. It is 56 degrees. I hope it stays a little cool for the game today, not too hot. So I'm kind of bundled up. And I hope that you guys have a great day. Today is actually Halloween, I guess. I don't really do Halloween, so I just kind of like smile at people that do it because I don't really do it. I don't really celebrate skeletons and skulls and stuff like that. I don't really like it. So I do love to see kids happy. I do love to see them smiling and dress up and enjoy themselves on any other day. I stopped doing Halloween a long time ago. When I was in junior high in New Hampshire, they had Halloween during the day on a Sunday. So you'd go around your neighborhood, full broad daylight. And then they recommended you bring all your candy to the hospital to get it x-rayed. I don't know if anybody actually did that. But I'm like, why? You know? So I just feel like it's a holiday that I do not understand why so many people. I understand they want to have fun with the kids. I understand the kids love candy. I understand they want to dress up, but I don't understand why people want to celebrate, you know, death and wickedness and just not participating in that. So it is a beautiful day, and the sun is coming up over here on my left, and it's beautiful, shining through the clouds. I don't know, maybe there'll be a rainbow this morning. It was kind of dark when I left my house, and it's brightening up. So I'm headed off to school. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. Thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a great day. It is Halloween. A lot of churches and communities did like a trunk or treat type activity last weekend. And I don't know what they're going to do tonight. Probably trick or treat tonight too. But I don't really do trick or treat. We don't pass out candy. I guess I'm the Scrooge of Halloween. But I do love Thanksgiving. I do participate in other holidays. I just don't. After COVID though, I was sort of promoting Halloween because I'm like, yes, let the kids get out, let the people give candy, and let people, you know, be free. So that was 1 year after the COVID year that I was like, I do want Halloween this year. But I guess I really don't understand why people are so generous to give out candy on Halloween, and then other days we teach kids that it's dangerous to take things from strangers. It's kind of a strange dichotomy, I guess you'd say, or paradox. So anyway, it is what it is. It is what it is. Most people will celebrate and think it's great. Yeah, so we're going to school. We have a soccer game today, and we're hoping to win because then it will mean that we can play for the top spot in the tournament, which will be very hard because, like I mentioned before, our students are, you know, they've worked really hard. They're great players, but we don't have any substitutes. So if you don't have any substitutes, it's really hard. So it is what it is. We will pray for them. Hopefully it all goes well today. And thank you so much for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the thumbs up. And it's a nice sunny day. It rained yesterday. It rained last night. And I was hoping that it would be nice today for the soccer game. There are actually 2 games today. The first team in the that won the whole league for the year, they'll be playing first, and the 4th team will play, and then the 2nd and the 3rd team will play, and then the winners from those will play tomorrow. So it should be a fun couple of days. So anyway, I'm going to sign off. I hope you have a great morning, and let me know in the comments where you're from, and say hello in the comments, please, and give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you for watching this video chat, and I hope you have a great day.